Not what we're looking for.
It's gonna be like the last trip.
Gotta catch a couple of these first to get it warmed up. Well, the wind might not be favorable for me.
Oh yeah, green trout. Got to love it. Just love to bite. Doesn't matter what they are. That's like a borderline eater.
There you go.
There we go.
The good fish. Oh man, I forgot I had that when I undid that line. There we go. First decent Sac-a-Lait of the day.
Oh, missed mine.
Greg just missed one in the back.
In the same place, I mean.
All right, them Sac-a-Lait, the way they're, they don't like to look up into the sun too much. And it also, I think, it changes the pressure a little bit, and the fish just tend to kind of turn on a little bit better when you got cloudier skies. If you don't have a cloudy skies on a day like today where it's fairly sunny, wind is the other factor. If you don't have any wind and it's dead calm, bright day, you might as well just stay at the house.
I said they're not enjoying themselves right now in Chicago like we are. I mean, we out here in our sportsman tees, fin, catching Sac-a-Lait off the bed, and I'm getting some bites. Little boogers.
Ooh, look at that, there one. I think we're just beating down the bank. It's clouds are getting the sun's getting behind the clouds, and it's getting a little bit later in the day. Water temperature's starting to warm up, and these fish are starting to get a little bit more active. So a little male probably pushing up on the bank, starting to work those beds for the spawn. All right, usually in the springtime, if you come to the back end of most of your dead end canals, typically you'll have a little bit of marsh drain off, and these canals will kind of stay clear no matter your fluctuation of your south winds pushing waters in or not. And typically I look for a clear water area during the spawn, and once your water temperatures go above 60 degrees, your male Sac-a-Lait and your perch and all will start moving on the beds, and they'll start working the beds. And once it gets about 64 degrees, 65 degrees down here, what the people call black crappie, we don't typically catch too many white ones right here. They'll move up on the beds, and 65, 66 degrees, they'll start spawning. And then you want to start looking for, that full moon that's in February and March. And typically they'll lay close to that full moon. That pressure and the moon kind of gets them going. And as long as you got the right temperatures, everything will fall into place. And typically I start fishing 15, 20 feet off the bank. I'll work my cast up on the front of the bank and work my bait out of ways, kind of see where I'm catching them. If I'm fishing for a while, early in the morning, and it's kind of heating up, and it's a bluebird day, I might go deeper and move out. In the afternoon, if I'm fishing and it's kind of getting warmer, like we had a cold front this week, the water's starting to warm up, I might start fishing 2 feet deep. I might move up to fishing 1 feet deep, and getting right up on the bank. As it gets warmer, I found the fish kind of push up real close and tight to the bank.
I waited, just kind of pulled back. It's one of Grandma's fish right here. Ooh. She gonna be happy tonight.
Oh, the Chinkapin lake runner. Call them lake runners down here.
So when you get above 90, they got a different name?
Chinkapin.
Another lake runner.
Yep.
What they are south of 90?
That's it.
For you folks at home that live north of 90,
So show me what that is. Explain what you got going on.
This is the typical red ear sun perch, but we call them lake runners down here. Usually you'll find these booked up, fish on in the back. Got a nice Sac-a-Lait right there.
came right out that chinky pin hole.
Usually you can find these schooled up. They usually spawn typically around the same time as your Sac-a-Lait do. And these things love bait. You come and you fish with worms, you can catch hundreds and hundreds of these all in the same spot.
I got another Sac-a-Lait? Another one? You know, they're not great big, but they're
just sitting on it.
perfect size. Yeah, well, basically, you know, the Sac-a-Lait are looking for a protected place, just like the bass. And, you know, again, when you have a cold front, this water doesn't seem to get quite as cold. You know, that main drag out there's got current in it, and that water just, you know, it takes it a lot longer to warm up out there. And it's not necessarily that fish don't spawn out there. These are the places, the dead ends is where they spawn first. You know, so this is a place where the bass spawn first, the Sac-a-Lait spawn first. You know, this, and another thing that happens, typically these dead ends are cleaner. You know, where you got an open, like a main bayou or main pass or a through canal, you know, water flows through it, we get a rain, it dirties up. But these dead ends just have a tendency to stay cleaner. They warm up faster. They're not affected by big rain. You get a bunch of cold water running through that main drag out there. It'll really drop the water temperature. These places are protected, and these fish just like a protected area to spawn. They have all the right habitat, lilies, you know, clean water, them undercut banks. And you know, and that's the deal. Even, you know, we found out the last time we bass fished, we were about the only bass fishermen in one dead end that we fished, but there were 10 Sac-a-Lait fishermen in there with us. You know, all those fish are using the same, you know, the same place to spawn. You know, more times than not, the Sac-a-Lait spawn and bass spawn happen about the same time. There he is.
Nice Sac-a-Lait. Being that we just had a cold front, the water temperature, it got down to about 54 degrees, and now it's starting off in the morning about 58, 59 degrees, and as it gets above 61, 62 degrees, as you can see, we're catching a lot of bluegill and lake runners. All the fish are starting to bite, and it just activates them. They kind of get out of that lethargic period of high pressure and cold air, and you got a little wind, clouds, you know, are gonna be setting in over the next few days. And as it gets later, the water just can continue to warm up throughout the day, and it makes them more active. Typical bluegill. You can catch these on a fly rod all day long. Especially like that one. Just come up and pop the cork.
Ooh, look at this one. A little fatty. A little fatty patty right there, look. Looks like a female. There's one. Man, it's got a hot hand up there.
So it's working.
Well, the fish are up on the beds here, so any place that you can get where the lilies aren't out too far, get the bait up in the cane reeds, kind of close to the bank where the lilies aren't pushing off too far. The cut grass right here, they're just kind of fixing themselves up against that cut grass where you got a little bit of water on the shelf right there, and they're little males trying to work the bed.
Could the water have come up a little bit since we've been fishing?
It may
Like it
have.
may
I mean,
have.
the water's been pushing in with that. I mean, we have
With
a
that south wind?
strong south wind all day today, so it steadily should be coming in.
This would definitely be the bank you want them to be on. It's easy to fish. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? Like it's easy to get to where they.
they're up there on the bank, you can get right up to them.
Get right to them.
There we go. Let's see what we got here. That's the right kind.
Yes, sir. We done found them right here on this line. Them old bigs.
Look, somebody else got them before me.
And put him back?
Probably missed them. Gave them a little bit of slack.
Yeah, I was supposed to say, hey.
Well, typically over here, you know, it goes based on our weather pattern here. Into January, this year is seasonally warm, so January a little bit. The bite was on a little bit earlier in January, but typically February, March, on through April, you can constantly come in here. The Sac-a-Lait kind of spawn in different waves, so you can come in here and catch these fish into January, warm months, and warm days in January, February, March, April. That whole time is a really good time to be catching the Sac-a-Lait in the spring, and we're just off the intercoastal canals in Terrebonne Parish. Anywhere that you can come back in the back end of the canals, dead end canals, find you some clear water with that water temperature about 64 to 65 degrees, you can have a great day out here and catch plenty of fish. Just try to pick a day that has a little bit more clouds than we got here today. But the spawn's on, and even with these bluebird skies like we have today, we're still doing fairly well and catching plenty of fish, plenty enough to take home and fry with them Hushpuppies. Well, typically, these fish are gonna spawn close to the same places they've been hanging out in the winter. So I typically look for like a big body of water. Like this is the main canal here. It's got 6-7 feet of water, so in that cold, when it gets real cold, they can get low enough to where, the shallow water canals typically get cold and the temperatures fluctuate in a shallow water canal. A little bit deeper canal, if it gets too cold, they can suspend in 4 to 5 feet of water when a cold front comes in, and then when it warms back up, they can move back onto the bank. So that's what I look for. I want to look for a canal that's got at least 5 to 6 feet of water. It feeds off of a bigger body of water. All right, well, typically you just want to get you any style cork. I like to use a little small cigar style cork, but you can use a clip-on cork, a cork with a weight on it, 8-pound test monofilament, 7-foot to 8-foot rod with a little light 2000 size spinning reel. Works great. And push button, if that's what you like to use. Spin cast works great too. Today I'm using a 1/32 ounce jig head. If it's real windy and it's a little hard to cast, you can move up to a 1/16 ounce jig head. I wouldn't go anything bigger than that. I kind of like to finesse the baits, and I like to use a little pink colored bait in the spawn. But out here, blue and white, black and chartreuse, your standard bait colors, you can go up there and just keeping that bait in the water, keeping it close to the bank, you can catch fish all day long. Okay, so as we're looking on this bank right here, you see they got a lot of lilies up here against the bank. Typically, if I'm going by myself and I want to hit certain little areas, I'm gonna speed up right here, and I find this one area here that's got access close to the cut grass, nice little pocket. The fish are moving up the spawn right now. We want to cast in a little pocket like that, or something here where you got a little cut grass that's out off the bank a little bit. Anything like that for the fish have something to kind of hold in, and then to attack their prey. When I cast in there, they think it's a little bait fish. When I cast in there, get real close and kind of work it off the bank like that, and usually you get you a little bite or something. There's a good one.
That's a big one right there. Come out of there. I knew it was. Oh, fatty.
This is what we're not after. This is bluegill. And see, he wants to squirm back. We'll let him go back.
Uh-oh. Uh-oh. That's a tanker right there.
Ooh-wee.
I think it's making a line sing. They're getting better. Just got to keep grinding. Keep grinding. Just trying to get enough to eat.
You know what we do on them.
We always grind. We grinding every day of the week. But I mean, we got lots of hush puppies. So we're gonna need lots of fish.
Got a lot of people to feed.
A lot of people.
TV fans.
That's right. You can't eat a hush puppy by itself.
With the sun's going down and it's the end of the day, in the last 15 minutes on almost every single cast, we've had a bite. We haven't been able to hook them all because they're biting kind of funny, but you know, you can tell that they're actively feeding, you know, this last couple minutes of daylight. And then usually I find about 15 minutes after the sun is set down, you can almost call it quits. They don't seem to bite, you know, until it gets maybe dark, and then you can come out here and get lucky and catch them underneath the light or something. But they kind of shut down about 15, 20 minutes before it gets pitch black. That was the fish I missed.
That was him.
I always find at the end of the day when they're spawning, shorten up the cork, throw it close to the bank, they'll start feeding.
Uh-oh, got a double.
Double. One on the back. Oh, I think yours could eat mine.
Are they close? They close. You know, in the summertime, I would probably prefer the mornings, you know, when the weather's hot, because you've had all night for the water to cool down. But, you know, without a doubt, this time of the year, even on a warm day, I would prefer, if you only had a few hours to go, the afternoon would definitely be the time. Because regardless of whatever it is in the morning, that water temperature is typically always 2 or 3, 4 degrees warmer by the afternoon, and that just, you know, makes those fish active. I mean, because, you know, we're still dealing with water temperatures right now in the 60s. Especially our fish, anywhere from now till it gets to be 80, they're active when it warms up. I mean, the water's not that warm. I mean, we look at, you know, 60-degree water, yeah, they're spawning or whatever, but I mean, it's just 68's better than 63, you know, so that just makes the afternoons, afternoons better. A lot of times in the morning, first thing, either they're, you know, they won't be setting on the nest. A lot of times they'll pull off in the dark, you know, and set around, and by late in the afternoon, you know, when it really warms up, that's when they get aggressive and they'll get up there and set, and just makes them a lot easier to catch. And the other deal is, you know, like now we're dealing with that changing light period, and they don't see as well, which makes them easier to catch. You know, because their eyes are making that change from, you know, high skies like we've had and sunny weather till it's getting dark and we're getting a lot more shade, and it's just, you know, like I said, in the springtime, if I could get the opportunity, if I only had a few hours, I would pick the afternoon definitely over, you know, over the mornings.
There's new fish.
Oh, nice yellow bass. How about that? Do you catch many of those?
In here, I caught about 5 or 6 each trip.
How about that?
But earlier this year, in Orange Grove, Bob over there, he caught like 200 one day on a crankbait.
I didn't realize the marsh, I didn't even know they were that common in the marsh.
Yeah, I missed that trip. It was like on for like 3 days. I might need to let them take it longer too, because they haven't been hooking them as much.
There he is. That's a little male right here. How about them coyotes? Huh? Coyotes hollering. How about that? That's pretty awesome, isn't it?
It's a huge pack of them.
It's okay, it's okay. Well, it looks like the Hush Puppies aren't getting lonely. Join us here next time on Sportsman TV.